Aiming down the sight, but taking a passive angle. There's the first contact. Activating the dash, never afraid to re-peek. There's the second one, goes for the third.
Re-peek?
Almost a wall bang.
He's reloading and he stays!
And the fourth! And gets the ace with a second no-scope!
Vamos! Fill out your bingo card!
What's it though? Reposition, TP, tagged up though. Was on the heaven angle. Fragment nade at the feet of Aspas. He is not being put off. Kawazine is aware that there could be a push into Wine and still has that presence of mind to clear it. Furia are coming out with a bit of a miracle round. The weapon he was really hoping for, Door.
30 seconds left.
Closed down. Anybody holding this in the smoke? It's not what's for. No one's holding it until you didn't expect it. Aspas locks himself down for the ace to try and turn it around. He's got a dash back online. He knows where the Drazine should be. The spike there as well. Isolates the find and he claims it. You really need to be a championship caliber team moving forwards. There's a clash. A fight taken. Furia chucking anything now at the wall to see if they can make it, but it matters not. Round the side as a clash and an ace to finish. 2 years. The job's done.
And any sort of gun that they can take out of the hands of NRG is magnified in the long run. And that's 2. Sadak in a 1v2. 30 seconds left, plenty of time. I mean, at best, you're no shot. Sadak has gotten it this far. It's just a 1v1 now. And he still has time. The spam from Victor as he repositions now. 13 seconds left. Victor has a lot of utility here. But the swing out from Sadak with the flash. Waiting. Crosshair trained! And the ace from Sadak!
So welcome to part 2 in our 12-part series. Today, of course, we will be talking about how Loud can win Masters Tokyo. We got a nice little picture of Sadak there as our theme. And now let's dive into it. I'm sure many of you are already familiar with Loud's players and their coach, particularly Les Sadak and Aspas, obviously from last year. But since obviously last year and winning champs, they've added Tui's Kawazine and their coach Fraud as well. I was actually interested by some of the stats. You can see that Les and Aspas in particular are fragging extremely hard. And actually in terms of their first kills, first deaths, it's actually, you know, pretty close to even, with the exception, of course, of Aspas. Now let's take a look at Loud's playstyle, and to do that we're going to take a look at round 16 of the grand final versus NRG here on Ascent. And this is a crucial round. It's round 16. It means that it'll be a save here for NRG if they lose this one. And what we're going to see is just look at how proactive Loud can be at different times and when they feel like, you know, is the right time. So we start off with pretty normal stuff. The smoke comes out here. NRG drone down mid. We get the smoke, the one way, the KO knife in here. You know, NRG go for this mid presence, and so just take a look at Loud's reaction to this, right? Because you can see basically at this point, we're at 125 in the round. So 15 seconds into the round, already they've double stacked pushed A main, but you can see that these two are starting to creep as well, and these two are going to come and push B main. So what we're going to get is we're going to get a double contact walkout from these two in A main here, these two in B main here, because they've seen that most of the pressure from NRG seems to be towards mid. So they're going to try basically and get a 2v1, most likely against either the Omen or Killjoy, you know, who will commonly be in those areas, and just try and win that fight. And it's an incredibly good plan, and it goes very well for them, but it leads to a very bizarre round. And actually, you know, they don't have the Killjoy setup, you know, once this alarm bot isn't in mid, they don't really have the setup for mid anymore. It kind of leads to a bizarre round, but you'll see, look at this, man. Look at that. You know, they go peeking out, and then if we look on the other side of the map, they're doing the exact same thing. It's kind of crazy, and that kind of baits them into, oh, they've pushed A main, so, you know, that kind of almost baits them into coming to Aspas with his op. You know, it's all kind of well thought out, and it works out for here, Loud. It leads to a very bizarre round after Artist gets that kill on Sadak, and FNS manages to sneak into spawn. But you can see already, like, some of the ideas that Loud can have, and just, you know, I'm not sure if this was, you know, a reaction that they had planned if NRG are going to do that on their defensive side, or whether it was in the moment. But either way, you know, they can come up with some really creative, really proactive ideas It does also mean you can leave gaps like they do here for FNS, who does exploit it, but then, you know, they have enough trust in each other and they're good enough to where Tui's gets that kill on Artis, and you'll see here in a second they managed to kill FNS as well, and practically the round is over at that point. And the thing is with Loud, they are never out of a round, no matter what they've got, as 100 Thieves found out in this crucial round, 11-11 on split here in their game. And this was the round that really cost 100 Thieves this game, because they're running into Loud and they're going to run into the two players who have just a shorty and a sheriff here on this A site. And they're going to do a, you know, a fairly fast A hit here. You couldn't draw it up any better for 100 Thieves, right? We're doing a full hit into an A site with only a shorty and a sheriff against us. But of course, what happens is that somehow they're still going to manage to win this round. And this is just another aspect of Loud where, you know, Aspas obviously on this jet is just kind of crazy and, you know, can win pretty much any round, you know, and get out and escape these kind of situations. But you'll see even the flash, the dog comes out, you know, from 100 Thieves and you think they're going to be fine. They even use a Razalt. And they still managed to lose this, right? It's absolutely insane. There goes the Razal. You know, somehow, well, Aspas dashes away from it just there. And now with just a Sheriff and a Shorty, these two managed to hold down the site long enough to get reinforcements and managed to get enough kills themselves here to make this a real problem for 100 Thieves. There you go. And now the rest of Loud, you know, flood in onto the site, and Loud are going to manage to win this round. And this is really, you know, another thing about Loud is that they are never out of these rounds. They can always win any round at any time. And for Loud's attack sides, it's kind of much the same. They can beat you in a lot of different ways. For instance, here we're going to take a look at Furia versus Loud on Haven, and as we see, particularly I think on this map, you know, Loud can have some really nice ideas when it comes to some of their set execs, you'll see, and basically Loud took this A main control at the very start of this round, and then they sat here for a minute and didn't do anything else, and they just sat here for a minute basically, and then they just waited until, you know, they felt like, you know, Fury had used some of that utility, they'd used their Harbor Wall, and then they get in position to go in, right? They managed to get this Viper Orb in here, they send in the Harbor Orb, they send in the dog there, you could see as well, in comes this Harbor Cascade as well, and I love though the timing, right? Because Aspas doesn't go in straight away, he's actually going to wait for the dog to come in, to kind of spot where they are, and then after the dog is gone, then he goes for this dash, perfectly timed with the rest of his team coming in here, so that then a Sky Flash can come out as well, because of course playing the Loud comp here on Haven, you only have kind of the one initiator, so he waits for, you know, all the Sky utility to come out. Harbor's going off. They actually miss MW0 here on the other side, but you see how clean that take is, the timings of everyone coming onto the site, and Loud managed to take the site and win this round. But to take another example from the same game, let's take a look at round number 3. This is actually their bonus round. Now, this is a pretty good bonus. They only have 1 Bulldog and 4 rifles because they did an FBX buy here, but still, you'll just see in this round, they can win in many different ways, because this round, like, they don't even need utility this round, and this is a bonus round. You'll see in this one, they start towards Garage here. Kaozin's just going to peek out, and he just punishes Khalil 100%, just here, right? So they get the first kill, and then they go for this Harbor Wall, and they pressure towards C. They send in the dog, they kill the turret, but now actually the call is just to very quickly come back to A, hoping that these rotates have come across. Now, Furia, you know, they're a bit suspicious as the hit doesn't come in here, so they actually send in their own dog and start to drift back towards A just here, and you see 2 players do manage to get back onto the A site, as they've seen nothing on C just yet. But again, just take a look at this. Perhaps Loud realizing that this is the case, again, they just context swing this. You'll see it on Long in a second. They're going to swing as a triple stack here, and they're just going to destroy Furia here. Just boom, dead, gone, right? We don't need the utility. And then the same thing here. You'd think that DG is going to be favored to win this fight. But again, they swing together and Tui's gets that kill. And it's just round over. And this is a bonus round loss for Furia. And yeah, all these kills just came from dry fights, dry swinging, because the players are that good. Now, in terms of their team stats, you can see here that they are a more attacking side team than a defensive team. It kind of was interesting to me that their defensive win rate wasn't actually that high. But you can see their map score is still very good, and their overall win rate and their pistol win rate is also pretty good as well. In terms of their best maps, Haven is a map that they have won on consistently. And Ascent, they did lose to EG, but you know, they're still a very good Ascent team, and I don't think anyone would take that away from them. In terms of their worst maps, it's kind of weird for them because they started off picking Pearl at this split, but then it kind of slowly became one of their worst maps, and then they actually started banning it. And Lotus, they played once and lost, but they weren't banning it. So I put it down as one of their worst maps, but they have only played it once, and they did play Gecko, but they did lose. So I don't know. That's kind of a weird one. Don't really know what's going on with their Lotus. In terms of their map pool here, you can see that Ascent obviously is one of their favorite maps and often is their first pick. But yeah, you can see that kind of Pearl and Split, other maps that they were kind of picking earlier on, they ended up kind of shying away from them. You can see that their win rate actually isn't amazing on those two maps overall. And so, yeah, it's kind of weird that they've kind of flipped maps from maps that they started off as kind of favored on. They then decided that they didn't like those maps as much. In terms of their comps and the meta rating, I mean, Loud basically created a lot of the metas on some of these maps. So, you know, it's no surprise that, yeah, they do play some meta comps. But as we've seen more recently, you know, with Fracture and with Bind, you know, they're not afraid to go out and play some kind of weird stuff, you know, bringing in a Chamber on Bind or going for this no Sentinel comp on Fracture as well. In terms of the agent pick rates, it's really no surprise to see Harbor, Viper, Jet, and Sky all way above what they would be compared to the average, you know, to the detriment of agents like Breach maybe and Raze compared to average as well, because that is the Loud comp and they play it pretty often. And to me, when it comes down to how are Loud going to win Masters Tokyo, it comes down to this really. Not necessarily this round, but just Fracture as a map and what that represents. Because Fracture was a map that Loud were banning at the start of this season. But then they came out in playoffs, turns out they had a weird kind of cool idea, and they managed to win both against EG and NRG as well. And for me, the problem for Loud, if they struggle at Master Tokyo, will be their map pool. You know, we've seen them struggle on Pearl, and now they're kind of perma-banning that. We've seen them struggle on Split as well. And we've seen, well, we haven't seen much of Lotus, but, you know, the Lotus is a bit of a question mark as well. You know, how good are Loud at that map? I don't know. And so to me, what will probably happen for Loud is if they're going to win Masters Tokyo, it's going to be because it turns out they actually do have good ideas for, you know, new ideas for maybe Split and Lotus that no one's really seen yet. And, you know, they're going to manage to win those maps because we know that Loud have the player talent. We know that they have the team structure to, you know, not just make a deep run, but go and win Masters Tokyo. We all know that that's there. So to me, it's just about their map pool. Do they have those ideas to make those maps that potentially are weak good again? And if so, they can definitely win Masters Tokyo.
It's all on to Victor. Can he hold it back?